Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? I am a man who is aged 39 years old. I have been residing here in Europe for a very long time. So I have a confession that I want to make, and this confession that I am about to give you, it is about my wife, my late wife, who was my first wife, and how I made my late wife to lose her mind soon after I had came here to Germany. Me and my wife, we were involved in what we can call a toxic relationship. This started as a relationship whereby I lusted after her because her parents were wealthier than my parents, and when I told her that I was in love with her, she never gave me the answer that I was looking for. She told me that she had feelings for me, but at the same time she said that she didn't want to be serious with me. At the time when we started dating, me and her, we were attending at the same university, and this was more like an open secret that I was not her only partner. I can say that me and her, we were in sort of like an open relationship, but I was like addicted to her because throughout my university years, she was the only one that I was dating because I loved her a lot. Anything that she would do for me, I would appreciate it. But on my side, anything that I would try to do for her, she will end up not appreciating me at all because she had several partners. But I think that when you are in love, that is the price that you pay for the sake of love. I kept on loving her, even though I knew that at that time she was already dating 4 more guys. And when her parents found out that I was dating her, because I was the only one whom she ended up introducing to her parents, they didn't like me. They didn't like the fact that my family was not a rich family and they were wealthier according to our Nigerian standards. So they started mistreating me. The father told me that he didn't think that his daughter was making a correct decision by getting involved with me. He even mentioned the fact that I was doing this only for the money, but they didn't understand and they didn't know everything that I had to go through. I went through so many heartbreaks, but I kept on loving her. And the way that they were mistreating me, she was also picking up from that same mistreatment that I was getting from her parents, and she kept on mistreating me as well because she knew that I was desperate. No matter how hard she would cheat on me, still I would never tell her that I didn't want to be involved with her anymore, simply because I was in love with her so much. Everyone from her family side, they all mistreated me. Then it happened that my wife-to-be, she fell pregnant for me, and I only got to know about this. This was when one of her cousin sisters told me that she had fallen pregnant, and she had mentioned the fact that she was not sure who the father of the baby was. When I confronted her about this pregnancy, that was when she said that she was not sure, and I then said, what are you going to do about it? The next time around, she came to me and she told me that she had an abortion, and she was actually blaming me for that abortion. And when I said, why are you blaming me for the abortion that you had? She then said that because you asked me a lot of questions, so I felt guilty and I ended up going to remove that baby. And she said that one of the guys that she was dating was the one who had impregnated her. She then gave me the name of the guy that had made her to fall pregnant, and this was a guy that I knew very well. But anyway, out of love, I ended up getting married to her. And when I got married to her, me and her, we struggled a lot because it seemed as if when she had that abortion, then For her to fall pregnant was proving to be a very difficult challenge, but God heard our prayers. Then she fell pregnant again, and what pained me the most is that at that time, when we were now like married, when she fell pregnant, at first she tried to hide the fact that she had fallen pregnant. You know, Brother Nashi, the way that I got to know about this pregnancy was I just found out this pregnancy test that was in the refuse bin, then put it aside. When she had returned from seeing her parents, I then asked her about this pregnancy test, and she then told me that she had fallen pregnant, and now she had fallen pregnant for me. And she said that I was supposed to be excited rather than to complain, because this is what I had been asking for since I had started dating her, and she had chosen to have a baby with me. I was happy, my brother, but that happiness was short-lived. I then found out that she had also another abortion, even though she pretended as if this was just a natural pregnancy. But I suspected that it was no natural miscarriage at all. She had done something evil to my unborn baby. We remained married, and I started upgrading myself because of the way that her parents were treating me. I then found myself an opportunity here in France. This was after she had given birth to our first baby boy, and I had to leave her behind because I wanted to prepare a place for her and our baby. So I was the one who came here to France first, and when I arrived here in France, I was a man that was broken down. I was a man who was heartbroken. I then met another woman, but this woman, she was from my country as well. We then started being friends, and we started dating each other, and I quickly found out that she had been looking for a man whom she could make her husband. She understood me, and quickly enough she fell pregnant for me, and I realized at that time that this is what true love was meant to feel like. And I realized that I didn't love my wife anymore, the one that I had left back in Africa. Her and her parents' wealth, I didn't care about it anymore. I was tired of being mistreated. I delayed my wife by any means because she was supposed to come and join me in France. And since me and my new girlfriend, we were like madly in love, and worst of all, when I found out that she was a German citizen, I then saw an opportunity and a pathway for me to become a German citizen. That is when me and my girlfriend, we moved to Germany, where I started a family with her. And when I arrived there, I can tell you that I was treated with the utmost respect by my wife's brothers as well as her sisters. I then lied to my African wife about my whereabouts. I only informed my family, and I told them that they were not supposed to tell my wife about this thing that was now happening, the development that was going on in Germany. I told them that if I was going to become a citizen, then it was going to be an easy for them to also come to Europe. So they kept that secret. She was the only one in her family who were always kept in the dark. And my mother, she was very supportive, and she also suspected that my firstborn was not mine. That was when she came with the idea to bewitch that woman that I had left in Africa, because at one point in time, when my mom had visited me in the city, when I was still staying with my late wife, she had mistreated my mom so much that when I returned back from work, I found out that my mom was already gone back to the village, and this was because of the way that she had been mistreated. So my mom told me that she wanted to use some charms on my wife so that she can get behind my back. I didn't know that this was going to end in the death of my wife. My mom told me that these charms that she was going to use, it was quite an easy charm. My mom told me that she had asked for my late wife to bring my son back to the village because she pretended as if she was missing her grandson, even though she hated her grandson with all of her heart. And when my late wife brought my son to the village so that my son can meet up with his grandmom, my mom had already gone to the My mom had already gone to this other native doctor where she had been given some juju by that native doctor. So the juju that she had been given, all that she had to do was to bath my son with the juju, and she had to rub it on his back. Then when my late wife came back to pick up our son, then my mother had already prepared some food, and she had laid some charms on top of the food that she had prepared. She did this throughout the night, and when my wife came to the village, what she did is that she just made the food to go warm a little bit, and my wife was given that food that had the juju charms in it. And the charms that she cooked with the food was to make my wife go sick. Then that juju charms that she rubbed on my son's back was to make my wife lose her mind. Whenever she would look at my son, then the demons will start tormenting her. Then she will start screaming so that people can actually believe that she was losing her mind. So what happened was that when she started falling sick, then she started abusing our son. People then took her to her relatives, and after they had taken her to her relatives, then they noticed that whenever she would look at my son, she would always scream. So they didn't understand what exactly was going on. They went with her to the hospital because they didn't believe in native doctors. Maybe if they had gone to visit a native doctor, the native doctor was going to tell them that this was just juju that was going on. But unfortunately, she then passed away. My wife passed away when she was being tormented, and she was under the tormentation of several demons that were sent by that native doctor. She suffered a lot because they thought that indeed she had grown some kind of hatred towards our son. And each and every time I would always call her, and I would call her own relatives, pretending as if I was actually someone who was in pain, and they didn't know that at that time when I was busy calling them, I was no longer in France anymore like they thought I was, but I was now in Germany. I never called them like using my personal phone that I had there in Germany, but I was speaking with them via WhatsApp because I didn't change my number. I was just still using that same number that I had when I arrived in France. So they do not even know about this secret at all. We kept this as a secret because of the pain that I had to go through when I was dating their daughter. This is my own secret, my brother, that I have been keeping for a very long time. Right now, my life has continued. I now have 3 kids with my wife. I used to tell myself that I have no regrets, but there is now a kind of a regret that is creeping into my heart because ever since my wife passed away, I never even had that chance or the opportunity to return back to Africa so that I can see my son. My mom always refuses to go and collect my son because she says that he is not my son. My mom says that I'm not the biological father. So many times I wonder what goes through the mind of my young boy whenever he thinks about his late mom, or whenever he thinks about his father, that he is told that the father is in Europe, in France, yet here where I am in Germany, I already have my own family, and I can say that I am married to a woman that respects me a lot. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our listeners. Please let us talk about this issue in the comment section.